Hey everyone, James Reeves, TFBTV, here with my buddy Andrew of Surefire. A lovely, well really not that lovely, but you being here is lovely.
Thank you.
A lovely afternoon in New Orleans with the brand new Surefire RC3, which is just announced. Kind of a big deal because the RC2, the Surefire RC2, your flagship product, has been a big deal for a long time.
Yeah.
Everyone's familiar with it. So when you guys come out with something new, you know, it's kind of like, whoa, what's going on here? Because you're not turning out something like every 6 months. The RC3, let's cut to the chase.
Right.
I mean, right now, and then we'll kind of get into everything. But for the guys that want to shut the video off and be like, okay, what the hell is it?
Yep.
What the hell is it?
So SOCOM line of suppressors, what we've always brought to the table is the best overall fighting suppressors. We try and, combine attributes to make it a really good fighting suppressor for those that are, at the tip of the spear and in a home defense mindset. We have really good durability, really good flash performance, all those attributes that the warfighter's looking for. The RC3 has kept all those performance, parameters and reduced back pressure by 60%. So it's a low back pressure suppressor. Yeah, that's the biggest part about the RC3, and we've kept the flash performance and durability that everybody's come to love from the Surefire line of cans. That reduced back pressure, I'm sure you know the benefits, but in case you're not familiar, a reduced back pressure is going to help weapon reliability. It's going to put less toxic gas in your face, so it's going to be healthier. It's also going to have less impact on the farm as far as recoil control. It's going to feel more controllable than a standard suppressor will. There's a ton of benefits that come from a low back pressure suppressor, making it overall, a more pleasant shooting experience.
Andrew, can you let me do my damn job here? Can you let me moderate the discussion, or do you just want to finish out the video? Can we just talk about this?
5.
Yeah. So let's talk about the RC1, RC2 series, born out of military requirements, more or less. And that is a uniquity, because there are a lot of suppressor manufacturers that are just turning out cans, but you guys really, you find your genesis in military requirements and performance, am I right?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, the SOCOM, like we talked about it earlier, the SOCOM line of suppressors was designed based on military requirements and what their preferences in performance was, and how they wanted that to perform in priority.
And with the RC2, a lot of people are going to say, oh, well, I saw this guy said that it wasn't the quietest suppressor out there. Or, if you look at the decibels, the decibels are higher than this can or that can. What's your response to that? I already know what it is, but, tell them.
No, it's good. So there's no free lunch, generally speaking, with suppressors. Performance parameters, it's like a video game when you slide one slider and you lose another. If you want it to be more durable, generally it's not going to be lighter. It's probably going to get a little heavier. If you want to make it quieter, it might get bigger. There's no free lunch with any of those performance parameters. And we, again, like to think we have the best combination of all those as far as a warfighter suppressor goes or a combat suppressor goes. So we have exceptional durability, really good flash performance, minimal and repeatable point of impact shift. Sounds, pretty decent. It's not the quietest suppressor in the world. Adequate for the job that it needs to do. And again, we just try to have the best overall fighting suppressor.
Right, and these are the requirements that you're getting, where the priorities are not necessarily being the quietest by a few decibels, whatever the case may be. You guys are getting requirements for point of aim, point of impact shift. You want to minimize that. You guys are what, 1 inch at 100 yards?
Yep.
Within 1 inch? If I take the can off, put it back on, it's not going to shift more than an inch.
Correct.
Right.
And it's repeatable at that inch. So for mounting these suppressors, the first thing we do is we're going to make sure that the ring is all the way open. You can see it got separated from the suppressor itself. Our engraving, if these are timed, our muzzle devices are timed properly, the engraving will be at the 12 o'clock at the top of the gun. So I intentionally offset the engraving while dropping it on, and then I'll roll that engraving over to the top, and you'll see it'll drop into the index notch. Now I know it's seated properly, and then you just twist the ring. That's all there is to it.
Seems complicated. What do I get out of this? There are people out there right now, and let's go ahead and knock that out.
Right.
There are people right now who are like, man, just do hub mounting, like everybody's doing hub mounting.
Right.
And I know we've known each other for years.
Yep.
I already know what your response is, but I want to get it for the camera.
No, sure.
Yeah, why?
We want to have a repeatable impact shift, right? So the suppressor is probably going to affect it a little bit. We test everything. We want it to be 1 inch and under at 100. With any type of a thread-on suppressor, your impact shift can vary depending on the amount of torque. It has to be the exact same, and even then there might be some variance. With this type of a mounting system, that takes all the question work out of it. So you know that, if you zero with the suppressor on, you take it off for maintenance and you put it back on, it's going to hit right where it did. You don't have to worry about the torque spec or how tight, what matching index marks or anything like that.
One of the most durable cans out there, I think your laser welded baffle stacks, right?
So the new suppressor, you're right on the RC2. The new suppressor is a combination of manufacturing techniques. There's a additive manufacturer, 3D printed, big portion of it. We also have some machine portions of the new suppressor and some laser welding parts as well. We've kind of used the best manufacturing technique we could for every single part of it. It makes it a little more expensive, but we're trying to build the best, really do a good job at mitigating flash.
And we discussed this a little bit earlier. So it's funny because you said, yeah, they're a little bit more expensive to manufacture. The RC3 is a little bit more expensive to manufacture than the RC2.
Good amount, yeah.
Right, because you've got these additional processes, which I didn't know about until you just brought it up. I figured it was close, but the RC2 laser welded baffles, RC3, you've got this new process. But that means that for a number of reasons, the RC2 is not going anywhere.
No, it'll still be there. There's a big price separation. RC2 MSRP, I believe, is around $1,200. RC3 MSRP is about $1,800. So it's a significant price difference, right? You should have spent the cost.
Yeah, I know. I should have. I know. I should have keep that up. I know. I know. Well, I didn't blow it. That's the problem.
Right.
I should have blown it.
Right.
That's what she said. God, we're never going to get through this video. Pricing. What about availability? When are they coming out?
So if you're seeing this video, they're shipping now.
Today? Yeah, which is tomorrow.
Yep. And if you're seeing this video, they're available now.
Talk to me about the mounting system. So we talked about that a little bit on the range. I'll probably cut that in here. But yeah, that's a big deal. Talk to me about the mounting system.
So we've kept the same mounting system, which was a huge priority with this. So it's backwards compatible with all the previous SOCOM muzzle devices that are out there. There's tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of those out there in the wild, and so the RC3 will work backwards on those.
Mm-hmm. Construction of the RC3 and the RC2, is there any difference?
Yeah, so the RC3 is 100% Inconel. You might be familiar with Inconel. In case you're not, Inconel is a high temperature alloy. It retains structural integrity at extreme temperatures. NASA uses Inconel. Formula One uses it on their exhaust. So when it gets really hot and red and glowing hot, it still remains, it has its structural integrity there.
Right, yeah.
Very expensive though and hard to machine.
RC2 and RC3, 100% Inconel cans.
Yeah, RC2 actually has like one or two stainless components inside. RC3 is 100% Inconel.
So how did you accomplish the like this low back pressure design? I see like the end cap is completely different.
Yeah, that's a very good question. So there's a huge backstory to it. We've been working on it for, I think, just about 3 years, just under that or so. We used some really smart minds and some supercomputer technology with the national labs that kind of helped us mainly develop the modeling that was enabled us to do a lot of testing. Long story short, that helped us with creating all the bypasses and internal designs that maximized the flow efficiency so that you're not having secondary explosions outside of the suppressor, increased flash, all of that, and it makes for a really good performing suppressor.
And I know that that's not just a line of bullshit because we were just out at the range, which is why I look like a soaked dog here because it's been raining all day. But we fired the RC2 right next to the RC3, probably running some B-roll of that. Right now, the comparison. A big selling point of the RC3 is that you've got 60% less back pressure. So this is a low back pressure can, which is really neat. We're about to do a little comparison. We've got an RC2, which I love to death, one of my most favorite suppressors, with this brand new RC3, a stranger in my house. I barely even know it. But we're gonna shoot it and we're gonna see how the performance difference is. Okay. And then offset until I find my index. There we go. Look at that, like a pro. You would almost think I own one of these. Okay, there is a difference. There is. I thought that was bullshit. But it is what it is when you're shooting a 5.56 can with an AR-15. It can be kind of gassy, even if you have like a high quality can, and you can feel it. It's like that, almost like being tear gas, like in your eyes. Didn't feel it at all with the RC3. We put the RC2 on there, and you know, not as bad as some other suppressors, but you can definitely tell a difference. Did it show on camera, Ryan?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Really?
Look,
You saw on the RC3, direct 3 o'clock at the camera.
Yeah.
The RC2 was forward, but more so than that, you'll see there's a big cloud of smoke after shooting the RC2 around your face.
Yeah, yeah.
Much less so with the RC3.
So talk to me about the differences between the RC2 and the RC3. If I'm going to pony up an extra $600, I
Yeah.
mean, this is 50% more expensive.
Yep.
Am I getting 50% better performance?
RC2 is still a great suppressor, as we were talking about before. You know, it depends on really what you're doing. If you're shooting a ton, I'd say it's worth it. If you're using it as like, you know, a home defense gun that you might touch if the world's falling apart, then RC2 is a great suppressor, super durable, it's always gonna work. But the benefits of low back pressure, you're really gonna realize if you're shooting a lot. It's gonna keep you more healthy, the gun's gonna run better, cleaner, all of that. As far as differences go, same weight, same length, pretty much the same diameter except for the end where you can see it's flared at the end cap.
Right.
And sound-wise, it did get a little bit louder. It's really hard when you're having a low back pressure suppressor to control the sound. We've done the best we can, but it's about 1.5 dB, which is almost
Interesting.
nothing in the sound
Okay.
world louder than the RC2.
Yeah, that's not much. I mean, I think it has to be 4 dB before the human ear can actually pick up a distinction between.
For most people.
Two, yeah, I think that's.
You shot them back to back, did you?
Yeah, not really. No, I didn't even pay attention. In fact, you just told me now that there's one, and I'm
Yeah.
like,
It's really hard to
okay.
notice.
Yeah,
I've tried to pay attention to it.
Yeah, we shot it back to back,
Yeah.
and it was fine. Finally, the roadmap for this. So this one is 5.56.
Right.
What are we doing? We doing minis? We doing full calibers? Talk to me about what the plan is for that.
Yeah, eventually we'll have everything. Right now the focus is on this because this is by far going to be our highest selling part number for them all, is the full size 5.56. So for
Interesting.
the first few
Okay.
months, that's like based on RC2 sales numbers. That's always
That's the big one.
The leading selling suppressor. So we're going to focus on these for the first few months, and then we'll start launching the other models. We will be coming out with all of the other models in the 3 variant. So yeah, there will be a mini, there will be so on and so forth, the 7.62 mini, so on and so forth. 5.56 RC3 is what we're launching right now, and that's will be shipping for the next few months until the next one comes.
Andrew, always a treat having you on the program. You are sweeter than a beignet, my friend.
Thank you for having me.
Cheers, guys. Thanks for watching. Take care.